All right, hello, hello. So for our tattoos, this is the fun part. I can't wait to put everything together that you've learned and how good you are now at drawing and coloring and shading and all of your ideas and everything that you know. So what we're working on today for the tattoo unit is just how to do a rough design. How do we have all the ideas that are in our head and all the images that we've collected from our idea board, what do we do? Now, one of the things that you can do is I did put a hand in here underneath. I don't know if you can see it. It says hand in to be printed. So you've collected all the stuff from your idea board for your tattoo design, and so anything that you need to be printed, I can print for you because you can trace some things. And again, we're not copying an exact tattoo design that's already been done, but if you want to take bits and pieces from things to put together to trace, then that's not a problem because the focus for this is shading and adding value, right? So if you need to hand anything in to be printed, I can do that. Same with any lettering that you do. I recommend that you trace that unless you have amazing handwriting, because again, this, you have to imagine this is going to be on a body for the rest of a life, right? Pretending, right? But you can either do something on Word and play with the font and the layout, or you can go to dafont.com. I'll put the link right here as well. And you can play with the types of letterings and everything that you want as well. So you can have quotes and stuff to go with your images. I just want to make sure that it's very clear that you have to showcase your strengths to be able to show value. So if you have a quote, make sure that you have something with it that's showing shading. If you have a small tattoo that you're designing, just make it bigger, okay? Even though potentially at the end it would be something that's small, that's okay. Make it that it's bigger. All right, so I just want to show you some of the tattoo designs that we've done in the past. So again, the focus then on this is to make sure that you're doing value. That's the whole point. So when we were talking about just combining a bunch of images together, so even this one is very much like a grayscale, not a lot of color. Yes, there's some red in there, but just even if you want it that grayscale and very much sort of black and gray, make sure that you're still adding shading in that. Okay, so with your gray pencil crayon, your black pencil crayon. So here this person's taken like an image of a heart and a clock and collected all those resources and then changed them up to put them all together to create something original. Here's a beautiful example of a blue rose, and I can't remember what the blue rose symbolizes, but depending on the color, right, that's how what the tattoo symbolizes. This is a beautiful example of adding value. Okay, so here's some other neat ones. They're like neotrad kind of tattoos, right? All of them, and again, these symbolize certain things, right? Simple but a beautiful example of adding value and having a feather. What I like about this too is I think if it was just a feather, it would be very stark, perhaps like if it was an arm tattoo. But I think just having the bubbles around it, and especially doing different sort of values of green, I think that really makes a difference for the area that they're doing the tattoo. There's another huge one. There's just a lot of really neat symbolism in this one, and another way that they've shown value, but this time with marker, and it looks really, really great. But again, taking all these different separate images, of the flower, and then the boat, and the rope, and of this, and the water, and then just having those as resources, and then putting them all together. So let me just show you how the heck you're to do that. And okay, so what I want you to do is just remember what you did with the neotrad tutorial. Well, the first thing that you did is that you just sketched everything out with your red pencil, and this is again what tattoo artists do. And again, I really like the red pencil because it erases nice. It doesn't smudge and get dirty like pencil does. So you're just sort of using all your resources. So again, you can either trace bits and parts in this, you can roughly sketch it out, right? So again, what I like, if I'm starting off really light for some of my stuff, and then when I'm happy with a line, I go a bit darker. So your first step is just like the neotrad tutorial, is where you're sketching everything out the way that you think that you like it with your red pencil. The next step, when you're kind of happy with what you want, so I'm not done everything, I'm just kind of goofing around. The next step is you're going to outline this in your black outline. So you have a not so fine tip marker. I'm not going to do the whole thing in front of you because you get the point, right? Exactly the same thing as you did with your tutorial for your rose. Okay, so you're going to outline everything. And you're going to really take your time with it all, okay? So outline everything the way that you would want it. Go slow, go slower than me. When you're done, and you've traced everything, so imagine that I have traced everything. Okay, so pretend I've traced everything. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to make sure that the marker is dry, and then I can erase it. And you can do all this in your black book. And then once I have my image, I'm ready to show off how good I am at adding value to this. Now, how are you going to trace, if you do print anything out, whether you can print it out or not, there's a few things. Of course, if you print it out and you happen to be at school, you can use a light table to trace anything. If you don't have a light table but you can print stuff out, you already know how to do this, right? You can rub the back with pencil. You can even rub the back with the red pencil and then trace it on there to do that. You can also use your Chromebook as a light table if you can't print anything out. There's lots of things. But trust yourself. You drew that rose, no problem, from scratch. So I know that you could draw this as well. But again, I'm starting off really light and I'm sort of like figuring out stuff and getting there. So there's a couple things. Once I draw everything out and then erase everything, then I'm ready to add my color. If my paper is really messy and I'm finding that I want to actually trace it again, so just will have a black lines, you can do that. You do have tracing paper if you need to, or you can use it, tear it out of your book and use a light table and trace it again if you just want all the solid lines just to retrace it. Whatever you think that you need to do, it should be okay here, but you have lots of different options just to get a nice clear image, just like we did when we did our coloring sheets. So eventually you get to the point where you're going to redraw it, right? And then you're going to recolor them with your pencil crayons, or I'm going to show you next tutorial how to do this all online. Okay, if you really like working to do it. Okay, so again, the colors and the value and everything that you do, it's got to all like sum up sort of the symbolism for your tattoo. Okay, so I can't wait to see what you're going to do. Do this all in your black book. It's going to look phenomenal. Okay, so if you want to know how to color in with the computer, next lesson.